Hello everyone, welcome back to the Vell-os storyline for EV Nova. When we last left off, we were just about to set out on the second part of the Vell-os storyline, going up to infiltrate the rebellion against the Federation of United Planets. So I think we want to release the Terrapin we have employed as a trading vessel, because we're not going to be doing any more commodity trading for the time being, and we have plenty of cash. I keep doing that. We have plenty of cash with which to currently operate on. So they want us to go up to the Korea system where we can talk to the rebels on the Rebel 2 station. And we're going to do exactly that because I happen to know where it is. And I happen to know we have enough to get there in one go without having to stop to ask for assistance or refuel. This is just a disabled derelict. Usually you get the option of helping them out and getting them to their destination. Speaking of which, we should maybe work on getting to our destination without getting blown up. The rebels certainly have style. They have these neat green ships and all their thrusters are blue instead of red. But thanks to our battery pack allowing us an extra jump, we can do the 4 jumps required to go from the current system we're in to the Korea system. It might be pronounced Korea, but honestly, it's Korea. It's Korea. I don't know why it's named Korea, but it is. Maybe, I don't know. Boop. You are met by a slightly suspicious rebel dockmaster who inquires as to why you've landed here. You explain that you feel obliged to do something for the rebellion, seeing as they are fighting the Bureau. You tell him that you've learned the Bureau does not fit with your ideals for the Federation, and you are a man of action and cannot just sit by and let them continue on their merry way. You can sense that the dockmaster remains suspicious, but after a deft, helping touch on the swirl of his mind, he decides against questioning you further. We always have a need for freighter captains, he explains, and you can do that without actually gaining a lot of our secrets. If you were planning on something more dangerous, you were going to have to prove yourself first. Go and see the dockmaster on Merrill in the Aldebaran system while he's off duty in the bar, and give him this. He hands you a small data crystal. He should be able to find something for you. So, those of you who've watched the pirate storyline know that the Aldebaran system is the one that is always blockaded by Federation ships. And this is because there's one planet there which is actually a rebellion planet. We're going to get there, and I will read the blurb that talks about that. But it's kind of interesting. It's very much kind of like the original trilogy of Star Wars, where, oh my, I appear to have been disabled. Let's negotiate. Yeah, that's more than you're going to take from me if I let you board me. You're a rebel. Greetings. Please assist me for 3,000. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we seem to have suffered a 14,000 credit tax, but pirates, that's just how it goes sometimes. I can't really head back to the Korea system because I'm not allowed to dock there usually. We only got permission through storyline, and so I can't do it again if I were just double back. But thankfully we seem to have made it unscathed to New Babylon, and now we can just continue on to the Aldebaran system. Aldebaran? Aldebaran. And for once the blockade is just 2 destroyers. That's okay. But Merol, as soon as you finish your post-flight routine, you decide that you better head to the bar to find this off-duty dockmaster. Merol is the only planet in Federation space to be an open rebellion. The Federation describes this planet as a breakaway being held by pirates, and has instituted a blockade for the duration of the current emergency. Meanwhile, Merol is quite self-sufficient. It's also the central shipyards for the rebellion, where purchased, stolen, and captured ships are taken to be refitted for active duty. Many of the ships sustain their heaviest damage coming from the blockade above the planet. There you go. And here, this reminds me of, if any of you played Link to, or was it, not Links to the Past, Ocarina of Time. It's the Hyrule Field, kind of. Like, there's a hole by one of these trees that you go down to the hidden area. But hey, not important. You ask the bar maid to point out the off-duty dockmaster, and she points to a stocky fellow enjoying a quiet drink. He looks up as your shadow falls across his table. What can I do for you? He asks politely. You explain your situation, saying that you were directed here to do something useful for the rebellion that doesn't quite require you to have an enormous security clearance. He looks at you and runs his hand through his graying hair. You can sense his shrewd mind calculating the risks you pose to the security of his operation. Well, we could always use some help getting foodstuffs onto the planet, he muses. He goes to explain. The Bureau is trying to starve us off the Federation, and the people's belts are starting to look a little tighter. Are you willing to become a freighter courier? You realize that you have no choice but to accept. All right, then, he says, squaring his shoulders. If you go to Las Vegas in the Vegas system and pick up 10 tons of food and bring it back here, it'll be much appreciated. Ask for Jay when you return, and I'll make sure he gets distributed to the right people. When you're on Las Vegas, Jay continues, make sure you get your produce from a guy named Burton. He's willing to sell his food to people he hasn't seen before, so he's your man. You thank him sincerely, but he merely eyes you askance. After observing his mind for a moment, you sense he doesn't like having his off-duty hours interrupted. Next time, he warns, picking up his drink, don't bring everyday business into the bar. I like my time off. You nod your head and head back to your beloved MASH, leaving Jay to savor the rest of his drink in peace. All right, so there we go. Off we go. Now, I believe among people who play this game a lot, this mission sequence is kind of infamous because you end up doing this, let's see, 4 different times. You end up doing this ridiculous thing 4 different times. So it's not well liked. I don't like it. I find it tedious. Everyone else finds it tedious. And why? If you're lucky, it's only 2 runs, and then you get on to the next chain. If you're unlucky, it can take a long time. As soon as you land, go find this Burton guy. Surprisingly, he's not hard to find. The Las Vegas marketplace is very well organized, and within a half hour, you're standing in front of the man you want, haggling over the price. The 2 of you quickly reach an agreement, and you get your 10 tons of food, no questions asked. He even gets one of his men to give you a hand loading the stuff onto your ship. You casually cast your senses around to your local area to ensure that none of the Federation authorities are paying you any obvious attention. Once you're satisfied, you begin running through a quick pre-flight checklist before heading off planet. There we go. Off we go. I know it seems painless, but do it 4 times. In fact, I think we'd even use a wormhole here, or the next system over, but I don't think we want to really bother with that. Oh no, the klaxon. Whatever it is far in my space wake now. Alrighty. As soon as you open the hatch, you are held by a smiling Jay walking along the concourse towards you. I take it you got it, he states with a grin and a wink, and you can sense his relief. You realize the rebels in this system must be living under terrible restrictions to survive the enormous Federation blockade of their world. After you show him your holds, he clasps you on the shoulder. Come with me to my office, he says, and we'll see what can be done about payment for a regular run. We'll leave the unloading to the people who get paid for it. Okay. You follow Jay to his sparsely furnished office, and he sits you down on a comfortable chair. I take it, he states, that you'll be wanting to move your way up to the ranks of the more exciting missions. When you nod, he grins and claps you on the shoulder again. Good to hear, he says with an approving smile. Of course, we live in times where trust is at a minimum, and if you want to become involved in the more exciting missions, then you have to prove yourself worthy of doing plenty of tedious, lower-risk runs. To get you started, he goes on, I'm going to make these food drops a regular occurrence, and each one you do will go a little way to proving yourself to the rebel high mucky mucks. You nod in understanding. In the meantime, here's a 15,000 credits to play. Here's a 15,000 credits to play with. He hands over a credit chip. Have a few drinks on me. With despair in your heart, you realize that you've taken the first step to destroying these brave people. Aw. You have to remain positive when doing the Vell-os storyline because it's pretty depressing. You sense Jay's shrewd intelligence and happy outlook, but decide against looking in his direction as to not risk revealing your telepathic capabilities. Captain Maxwell Klinger, you hear yelled from the back of the bar as he finally noses you. Over here. You turn towards the voice and see him enjoying a drink. He kicks out a chair at his table and indicates that you should join him with a grin. I've been told to move you up the chain, he begins smiling. But don't get carried away, he cautions. It's only a small step up from food drops to equipment drops. What it does mean is that some of the head sheds have noticed you. If you keep this up, before long you'll be up there with the best of them. Jay leans forward, resting his heavily muscled arms on the table as he asks more seriously. That is, if you're still interested, you realize you have no choice but to accept. Okay. Well, it's pretty simple, really, Jay continues expansively. No different from what you were doing now, except that the Bureau now reckons that you'll be smuggling is worse than what you were smuggling before. All we want you to do is go to Manin in the Leston system, he indicates with a casual wave of his arm, get 10 tons of equipment and bring it back here. Jay leans forward again. The man to go and see about getting the stuff, no questions asked, is a guy named Arpad. He knows his work and is very competent. He'll make sure you're looked after. Good luck, Captain Maxwell Clear. Alrighty, so we are off to do an equipment drop. I tell you, it's a brave new world. It's so exciting, so fulfilling to be carting equipment instead of food. It's the exact same mission. Go there, get 10 tons, come back, that's it. And you know, it's a little bit more interesting because this area of space is kind of more piratey, but by and large, I think it's pretty okay. Yeah. As soon as you land, you go looking for this Arpad guy. He's a lot harder to find than Burton was in Las Vegas, as the Menin marketplace is not nearly as well organized. However, with the help of your telepathic abilities, after just over an hour of searching, you're standing in front of the man you want, haggling over the price. The two of you quickly reach an agreement, and you get your 10 tons of equipment, no questions asked. He even gets a couple of men to give you a hand loading the stuff onto your ship. Once again, you cast your awareness around the area to ensure none of the Federation authorities are paying you any obvious attention, before running through a quick pre-flight checklist and heading off planet. Let's just see if there's anything worthwhile in the outfitter, nothing in the bar. We're not allowed to do missions. We have no room for that stuff. I don't know why I'm looking. Off we go. I kind of like the asteroid graphic they have for this planet. I think it's kind of amusing. Very much the kind of thing you'd expect if you were to want to colonize an asteroid. You'd make a sort of biodome on it and then make that habitable instead of trying to terraform an entire chunk of rock. I think it's reasonable. Do I see a derelict ship? I don't have any free room, but that certainly is a derelict. Got nothing I can do. Oh well. As soon as you open the hatch, you are hailed by a smiling Jay, walking along the concourse towards you. I take it you got what you wanted. He states with a grin and a wink. Once again, you can sense the genuine relief at seeing you again. The rebels on this planet must really be struggling. To satisfy his curiosity, you bring him aboard to show him your holds, and he clasps you on the shoulder. Excellent work, he says. Come with me to my office, and we'll see what can be done about payment and another regular run. There are enough people around here who get paid to do the unloading, so why don't we leave it to them? Once again, you follow Jay into his sparsely furnished office. It looks to me, he states with a mischievous grin, as though the people in charge of this are starting to look your way. He clasps you on the shoulder again. You observe the growing affection he's feeling towards you. It's a lot of shoulder clasping. I mean, my shoulders must be like, iron by the time this is over. While you're on your way, he says with an approving smile. Of course, it will take some time and things won't happen overnight, but I think you'll have just begun your long journey to the top. Keep putting in your hard work, and you should get there. To help you out, he goes on, I'm going to clear you to receive these equipment drops from the mission BBS, so you can chalk up a few more brownie points. You nod, understanding that your willingness to do this sort of grunt work will go a long way towards impressing the people in charge of your loyalty. In the meantime, here's a whopping 25,000 credits to play with. He hands over a credit chip. Have a few drinks on me. Thank you, Jay. Let's go to the bar and just keep it rolling. This is great. They're all coming up as they should. Once again, you can sense the good nature and shrewd intelligence of Jay before you see him. But again, you decide not to look in this direction to hide your abilities. That is, until you feel him trying to get your attention. You casually look over to see Jay waving his hand at you as he sits in his normal place. You sit down and he grins at you. If you're going to start betraying the rebellion, he says in jest, now would be the time you could start. Thanks, Jay. You quickly probe his mind, and you sense this comment is just an attempt at humor, not a very good one. The head sheds have decided to move you up a little further, he continues quietly. They want you to go up and pick up a rebel informant who believes that she has been compromised. Are you in, or do you need a little more time to prepare? Once again, you realize you have no choice but to accept. In reality, this mission is fairly simple, Jay continues quietly. Not too different from the cargo missions you've been doing, except you'll be picking up a passenger rather than freight. The young lady in question, whose name is Anna, lives on the Giltechnia system in the Rimshot. Giltechnia in the Rimshot system. He tells you seriously, make sure that you aren't spotted on the way out, as the Bureau would really like it if they stumbled onto a rebel extraction. Jay leans forward to emphasize the next point, and you can sense the urgency behind his words. The rebellion prides itself in looking after its people when it can. Our leaders have made a vow to extract any agent in trouble, if it is possible, without further compromising security. It is one of the things that allows the rebellion to employ so many people. Otherwise, many would not pluck up the courage to join, and we would be struggling even more than we already are. Good luck, Captain Maxwell Klinger, he tells you. You may need it. I somehow doubt that. But, as promised, here's the prodigal son. We have to report back to Earth. And gee, I wonder why. The prodigal son was actually sending a distress call there. You'd think it'd be able to handle itself as it's piloting a Thunderhead. Thunderheads are usually pretty beefy ships. Well, not beefy, but pretty vicious ships, because they have Thunderhead lances on them. Alright, so we go to the bar and see what's what. Well, we go with Wolf 395. Because the prodigal son's here, so that means we need to report in. So let's see what happens when we land here instead. It may be that we have to pick up the informant first, which I think is how it goes. And then we have to report in. So Anna is in Giltechnia. I know where that is. I did not bother doing any Giltechnia missions because I don't think they're really applicable to the Vell-os storyline. We will do them when we do the Federation storyline because they actually have a tie-in, which is a little bit unusual for side missions to have tie-ins that aren't explicitly leading into a given storyline, but there is in fact an extra step in the Giltechnia system, or in the Giltechnia storyline, if you are doing the Federation storyline. So it's kind of interesting. Alright, you land and go through your normal post-flight checklist as usual. When you are finished, you head outside to stretch your legs and await the arrival of this passenger. You don't have to wait long. Within 10 minutes, a plump-looking middle-aged matron walks up and introduces herself as Anna. The ability of the rebels to spread information to the galaxy must be very good if she was able to be here almost as you landed. You take her inside and show her about before heading back to your cockpit to begin preparing to head back out into space. Alright, so we'll swing by Earth and see if we can compromise this informant. So delightful. So cheery. It's alright, she's gonna go have a government-sponsored retreat or something, I'm sure. Excuse me? Oh, my ship has been scanned. Right, she is still a rebel agent, so I have to actually avoid getting scanned, even though I am a Federation employee. You know, maybe I should get an afterburner. Might make this easier. Usually getting scanned is not that hard to avoid, so it's kind of an afterthought. But occasionally they will send an anaconda or a viper after you and try to scan you. Okay, we are going right to the... We're going to complete the mission as intended. Gonna secure the goods. Let's see what we can do about that. So back to Aldebaran. Once again, there's a derelict ship, which I'd love to capitalize on. Even if it means... Oh, dear. Oh, no. Go down to 1x speed. If I have to dodge missiles, I'm not going to do it at 2x speed. Caps lock, by the way, is the one that allows you to... Oh. Thanks. Sorry, it sucks to be them. Caps lock allows you to toggle between normal speed and 2x speed. The game is probably meant to be played in 2x speed, to be entirely honest. Over the course of your journey, you learn that Anna is really only an informant. She only relays information regarding the Federation and Bureau activities to other members of her cell network. You are a little impressed by the way the rebels have set up their informants. If any one person was turned, they could only ever incriminate a maximum of 3 others, and even then, unless they acted within 2 days, they could not even do that. Anna thanks you for helping her out as she leaves and you watch her walk away. You realize that you never did find out the story behind her removal, but then again, you doubt she would have told you anyway. She didn't seem like the blabbing type. You look over to see the muscular figure of Jay walking towards you. You did good out there, he states seriously. Come to my office. I have someone I want you to meet. So I believe here that's a grammatical error. You should say you did well out there. You walk in to see a vaguely familiar figure with short hair and a military bearing. Allow me to introduce myself, the man says easily, reaching forward to shake your hand. My name is Cade Smart, retired general. You realize that you were talking to one of the founding members of the rebellion. You remember vaguely that Captain Cade Sundown Smart, as he was called, took command of the Federation's forces when the Aurorans had wiped out whole fleets of the Federation Navy under an incompetent command of his predecessor. His brilliance kept the Federation alive at a time when its destruction looked a virtual certainty. I want you to know that I've been following your career carefully, General Smart continues. I want to pass on my appreciation for what you've been doing. We are truly grateful for your efforts. Jay tells me that he's going to make similar missions available to you through the Mission BBS, and I can think of no one better for the job. Thank you, Captain Maxwell Klinger. Well, there we go. And now, I think what we want to do is report back to our superiors and get their take on what we should do. Surprise, surprise, it won't be cheery. It's never good, is it? But the Vell-os storyline is actually kind of nice. It's kind of a primer for the Rebellion and Federation storylines, and to a lesser extent, even kind of the Polaris. You feel a familiar tap on your shoulder as you turn to see a young soldier who informs you that you have to go to New England, the Wolf 395 system. Commander Crane will meet you there. At the mention of her name, a nameless dread rises up from your stomach, and once again you realize the hopelessness of your situation. As they have done so many times already in your short time of enslavement, the dark bands that enclose your mind twist you into thoughtlessly obeying the commands given to you. Delightful. Lovely. Commander Crane is like the villain in most of these storylines. She's truly evil. As we can see, the Association of Free Traders is doing just fine, even without the fearless leadership of yours truly. You are taken into a darkened room by a dock worker who refuses to be drawn into conversation. Hello, my pretty, comes that horrifically beautiful voice. Report. You make your report, and she grills you about the extraction and the appearance of General Smart. With the enslavement device attached to the nape of your neck, you have no hope of resisting her questioning. Good, the voice decides finally. You've done well. Now we must start using your position to best advantage. From here on, she commands, I want you to bring any rebels you pick up here, and we will do a quick body switch so we can start planting a few agents amongst their network. Hopefully they will start getting you to place agents in the future, and then we'll be really getting somewhere. In the meantime, she continues meaningfully, I want you to deliver this message pod to my man in the bar on Port Kane on Earth. You know who he is. He'll meet you there when you land. Alright, so we get to both be tool of the destruction of the Federation and small courier. I suppose we're going there anyway, so why not? So we get to be... Oh wow, that's a lot of Aurorans in the Sol system. And also Paul Pentecost. Hello, Paul Pentecost. I babysit, it pays better. Don't tell me that was irrelevant. It was a hippocampus. What? Hippopotamus. Oh. Someone is not pleased about the pay of being a game designer, and you know what? Fair. Doesn't pay well from what I've heard. Ooh, there's a Vell-os fleet approaching. Let's go watch the fireworks. They're running away, because the Vell-os fleet is going to destroy them. Yep. Oh well. Hello, Vell-os fleet. They do have these very striking blue ships, and it's quite nice. Alright, as you exit your ship, you see a soldier who has been your link to Kane, sitting nearby in a seat that affords excellent visibility. Crane, not Kane. You walk up and drop the message pod in front of him. Without a word, he punches a long string of numbers into the encryption lock and reads the contents. He looks up in clipped tones, says, Commander Crane wants you to continue as planned with your infiltration and await the usual prodigal son signal before returning here. With that, he closes the message pod and returns to looking around, ignoring you. Obviously, as far as he's concerned, this conversation is over. Delightful. As you head back to your beloved MASH, you wonder how you can live with yourself doing what you're doing to these brave rebels. No one deserves to go through what was done to you, and you have no doubt they will be subjected to it as well. After you spend about an hour sitting at the controls sweating, shaking, and weeping uncontrollably, you recover and head out into space, into the deepest despair of your life. You only see two paths ahead of you, death or damnation. Which will it be for you? Such a positive storyline. So happy. So delightful. Well, don't worry. Sometimes that's just how it is. The cold, unforgiving, deep, dark recesses of space. And, it is, kind of... At least it's better than 40k, that's what I'm getting at. It can be dark, but it's definitely not grim dark. At least not yet. Alright, Merrill. So I think I need to do a rebel plant before I get the next link in that chain. So I just need to... Oh, they're going to make me leave the system, aren't they? I think that is necessary. I don't want to deal with whatever that is. So I guess I'll give this another look. Yeah, I'm going to try landing on another planet in the system. And then land back there, because I want to avoid having to jump in and out of the system repeatedly if I can. Oh, some aurorans. That is an interesting sight, isn't it? Okay, so we get the regular food run. But this is the annoyance I was talking about, where occasionally the rebels just decide they're not going to give you missions for a while. And I'm sure it's just based on random chance, but it really feels kind of lousy when you're not allowed to do any other missions. That is kind of the weak point of the Vell-os campaign, is you need to just do story missions, at least to a certain point. And so it is kind of tedious, because you just got hammer in on those missions. But I see a drifting derelict. So I think this is a Vell-os thing, where we're not allowed to do the drifting derelict mission, and so instead we just get to board everything. Which, hey, is certainly faster, if nothing else. No regular equipment run. No, thank you. Okay. But regardless, we have made surprisingly fast progress on the other ones. So I'm not too hung up on that taking a little bit longer than it should have. Hey, let's take advantage of our unique position and run away, because that's a pirate fleet that just decided we needed to be destroyed. So, between death and damnation, guess we chose death. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to deal with that. Whoever sent that signal has since been destroyed. Heading to Nurse Primus, as opposed to Nurse Secundus, which is a real system. And I suppose there should also be a Nurse Tertius. I can't move. That is deeply unfortunate. And usually I would get another ship at this point, but spoilers, you will be getting a Vell-os ship, I believe, after this mission, so I'm hesitant to buy a ship when I'm just going to get a Vell-os ship instead. So I usually just stick with the shuttle for the first part of the Vell-os campaign. And trust me, the Vell-os ships are pretty fun to pilot. It's a good time. They're very zippy. Alright, refuel on the space dock, and we're going to head to Horizon, and then back to Wolf 395, which I believe is exactly 4 jumps, so we will be able to do so right off of blasting off from Horizon. And I do always like it when I don't have to land and wait to refuel. You land and go through your normal post-flight checklist as normal. When you are finished, you head outside to stretch your legs and sadly await the arrival of your passenger. Within 5 minutes, he arrives, and you bring him on board, give him the regular 5-minute tour. When you head back to your cockpit, you begin preparing to take him off to New England in the Wolf 359 system, in accordance with Commander Crane's commands. As you head out into space, your mood is as somber as the sky. Aw. It is depressing. But so it be indeed. Alright. And then I think either after this or the one after this, we're going to call it for a little while. Your passenger exits straight into the arms of the waiting Bureau investigators. He looks confused for a second before going red and turning on you, enraged. He lunges only to be forcefully restrained by the pickup team. You're going to pay for that, the rebel agent yells with impotent fury, as you watch on sadly, wishing you could will yourself to help him. One of the men restraining the rebel clubs him over the head with a short baton as he slumps unconscious. Good thinking, nods the leader, and the man is dragged away. She turns to you. We'll have a replacement for you to take back to the rebels in a few hours. Meet us in the bar. So we're going to play some taxi cab. As you sit at the bar enjoying a quiet drink, you sense the approach of a man with a distinctive mind of someone who has been recently trained as a Bureau agent. When you look up, you are startled to see the man who appears to be the rebel agent you brought in casually walk into the bar. You realize that he is just a Bureau agent surgically modified to look like the person you captured. He spots you and comes over. Are you Maxwell Klinger, captain of the MASH? He asks, and you nod slowly. I believe that you're supposed to take me to Merrill in the Aldebaran system. I'm ready to go when you are. With despair, you stand up, leaving the rest of your drink unfinished, and the both of you head towards your ship. So, quick swap. The Bureau is, they have capacity to alter people to look like other people, and they are going to slowly start worming their way into the Federation, or the rebellion against the Federation. But so be it. We don't have a choice in the matter. I hear Wraith-Eye being fired. I think it's from that Rebel Thunderhead. They make a very distinct sound. Your passenger thanks you for helping him out as he leaves. You cannot help but wish you had never met the man. You wonder what he will end up doing to these brave rebels in the name of the Bureau. You look over to see a muscular figure of Jay walking towards you. Good work, he states cheerfully. Come to my office. I have a credit chip with your name on it. When you get into his office, he goes over and starts rummaging through his desk drawers. Here it is, he says, at last pulling out the credit chip. That should keep you eating for a few more days. I'll see to it the general smarts of the universe hear about this, he promises more seriously as he hands you the chip. It never hurts to get a little good PR. As you leave his office, you cannot help but feel despair at the damage you have already done. And I don't think we're going to get another... Oh, no prodigal son, so I think there is another hook here then. Don't want to do regular food runs. The distinct sound of Thunderhead lances firing. Here's a rare sight. Only traders in this system. Usually the blockade is like really out in force. So it's nice to see. I'm going to head back to Earth, I think. As you see, the rebel systems are actually friendly with us now, because they don't know. The reputation system is actually fairly robust, which is nice to see. But let's see if we can get the next part of the storyline going. That's a lot of Leviathans there, or a lot of Valkyries, I should say. Nothing going on, huh? Alright, well, let's see if we can get this trigger one more time. And then we're probably going to call it here for the time being, because my voice is eventually going to give out on me. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure running through the Vell-os campaign for you. If you like this kind of content, please comment and subscribe. And if you want to come watch me live on Twitch, be more than happy to have you and to chat along with me as I run through this fantastic game. And hope to see you soon. Have a good one.